Designing and organizing your farm can be frustrating and annoying. Here are some tips to get you started. Hey guys, it's your girl Fuzz. Welcome back to another Stardew Valley video. My idea behind this video is kind of to give you some tips and tricks on how I think about designing the farm. I can't say I'm a pro at designing farms, but I've done many different farms for content including my YouTube and my Twitch streams. Having to do multiple farms again and again, I usually try and think of new ideas that I can do. So my tip and trick video today is more of giving you some insight on how I decide to design the farm and things you should consider if you're thinking about redesigning your farm or just needing some tips on how to design the farm. Now, if you've already built on your farm, sometimes it can be difficult deciding on where things are going to go, and that's perfectly fine. Generally, when I do decide to rechange my farm or redesign it, I usually put everything to one corner and then design it out that way. I don't really have an end goal. It's more about making the farm look a little sleek and a little more prettier to walk through. And the first way that I like to achieve that is with flooring. I've mentioned in a lot of my previous videos is that I like to start off with flooring. Not only is placing flooring really useful to separate the farm into different sections, but it allows easy access to these different sections. So for example, if you've got your coop and barn to the right side of your farm and your crops to your left, an easy way to separate in between the two is by placing flooring. Not only is it giving your character a direction to walk, but it's also a nice little way to separate each section of your farm depending on what you're designing to do. So not only is flooring really useful so you can get to your little sections quicker, but it is really nice to separate your farm using flooring. Along with that tip, I definitely would suggest bringing in some fences as well. Fences not only block off that section that you're designing, but can also add some color to your farm. So let's say, for example, you're using stone flooring. The use of wood fences will make a nice little contrast. This way you can section off your farm, whether it be a simple square around a coop and a barn, or whether you want to make it into a diamond pattern. Definitely give yourself some freedom with this, so change it up every once in a while. My next tip is trying to decide on how I'm going to section each part of the farm. That might be a little bit too linear for some people, but I do like it when the farm is very simple to look at. For example, having the coop and barn on the west side, the crops on the east side in front of my house, so sometimes I'm a little lazy to walk too much. Having the pond on the southeast section of the farm and possibly some sheds or even some tap trees on the southwest side. Consider if you do want to do this section area, because then it'll give you a better idea on where you're going to place your flooring and your fences. With that being said, you might want to consider having some of your items off of your farm. Now, what do I mean by this? If you've checked this previous video in the annotations above and the description below, I talk about ways that you can decorate Pelican Town with some of your machines, so not everything has to be stuck on your farm. This is definitely a great tip if you're finding that you're not having enough space for like your crops or your sheds. Pretty much every machine that can be placed on your farm can be placed off your farm, and you can replant your common trees off of your farm, so then you can start tapping them. So if you need more pine tar, if you need more oak resin, definitely consider using a space like in Cinesat Forest to tap your trees. That way you don't have to buy an extra shed, for example, if you just want to put your furnaces in the secret area above your farm, or why not consider Cinesat Forest for your tap trees? This way you can do more coops and more barns and be making yourself more money that way. Now, on the topic of organization, I have done a video on how I like to design my farm using sheds. Now, yes, sheds are expensive and do require a lot of resources, but there's a reason for that. They are very, very useful. I use sheds in all my playthroughs, and I try and prioritize it right after doing my barn, my coop, and my silo. Not only does it take a small space on your farm, but the inside you can upgrade to deliver even more space for you. It's kind of a cheating way on expanding your farm that way. So definitely consider using your sheds to better organize your farm and to have a place to easily access your machines and your chests. Now, this was a comment in that YouTube video. Someone had actually suggested using coops and barns to do exactly what a shed does. So I decided to give that a go, and you can actually do exactly that. So if you don't want to spend the money and the resources for a shed, why not use a coop and a barn that you might already have? Or build a new one and use that spacing instead. Quite a smart idea, actually. Quick tip, if you need to move one of your buildings and Robin isn't open yet or she's not available for that day, as she always is for some reason, if you completed the community community center of the Jojima program, and you've completed the Magic Ink quest, you do gain access to the Magic Book by the wizard. Here not only can you place down buildings that are only accessible through that Magic Book, but you can also use it to move your buildings around, any buildings that is. So definitely consider checking out the wizard instead if Robin's not available. My next tip is for the super nerdy people who still want a better way on designing their farm. Now I believe this is available for PC and for Switch, and there might be a possibility for the certain console that you've selected. Since I use Stardew Valley on PC, you can actually go into the settings, scroll all the way down to the bottom and screenshot your farm. In doing so, they'll save a photo of your farm when you're standing on it, of course, and save a photo in a folder for you. You can then access this photo if you want to start planning out your farm a little more in detail. Alongside that note, you can use Stardew Valley Planner, which when you Google that, just click on the very first link and you should get the Stardew Valley Planner version 2. In here, the possibilities are endless. You can choose whatever farm that you've decided to play on and organize your farm by placing down everything that you need, from crops to machines to even your coops and barns. Do definitely consider doing this if you still want to know how much space that you've got for flooring or your buildings. Now let's say you do have a lot of patches all over your farm and you're not sure what to do with this space. Why not use it to grow some simple trees or even to place some grass down? In a lot of my farm planning in my previous videos, you'll see that whenever there is a space and I'm not sure what to do with it, I'll either fill it in with some flooring or just place down a tree, let it grow, and then have some grass around it. There's something so aesthetic about just seeing a tree with some grass and even a fencing around it. It adds to it, making your farm not only look real pretty, but just adding some aesthetic to it. So definitely consider doing that. Also, a great quick tip, designing your farm can be kind of a struggle if you're using your seasons for other things such as mining or going to Skull Cavern. So definitely consider using winter instead to design your farm. Not only could you be doing exactly what you were doing in winter, but this is a great way of utilizing winter. Obviously using any of your seasons is a great idea, but obviously using winter is a great idea as well. My final tip is definitely check out not just my videos, but other YouTube videos on some farm tools, or even have a search on Google. There are some amazing farms that you can definitely check out on both Google and on YouTube. They can give you ideas on the designs that you could do, or where you could place certain buildings, or making certain patterns out of your machines. It's honestly amazing how much possibility you can do on your farm in Stardew. So don't put yourself down if you think your farm's not pretty enough. Honestly, it took me until year 5 to get my farm to look at least decently good. And I have a video on that on YouTube as well. Don't bum yourself out. Try out different things. If you don't want flooring, don't use it. If you don't want fences, don't do that either. If you don't want to talk to Robin, that's fine as well. I'm not going to throw that on you. Ignore me. Stardew is meant to be different. There's different characters and different buildings and different ways that you can play. Why not set yourself a goal that maybe every season you can decide to change something around? Or maybe every winter you can think about moving something or redesigning the whole farm. Don't rush yourself on it because it is going to take time. But I know you can do it. And on that note, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you next time, guys. Take care.